So we've been talking about resilience, and one of the things that has come up a couple of times now has been the increased rate in the number of suicides we're seeing in young people with all of the stress and pressures that are going on. This isn't a new concern, but it's a big concern right now. And you folks very interestingly, I think, connect lower resilience to suicide. Can you speak a little bit more about that and perhaps about what youth workers can be on the lookout for in their youth group that might signal a lower resilience?
Well, let me just start by saying I think it's important, as Reverend Yu has mentioned, that we seek to focus on the positive aspects and getting young people to look toward the future. In addition to that, though, we have got to look at the reality of the moment of where young people are. And for many of them, because of what has happened, particularly over the last 6 months, many of them are in new realities that they would never have imagined that they would have been in. For instance, many of them have lost that seminal point in their life where they were able to go to prom and graduate from whatever level of school. Many of them are now finding themselves in a food bank line with their parents. They have a beautiful car, but they're sitting in a food distribution line. Many of them are finding themselves not being able to get out into the air and breathe as much as they would have been, whether it's outdoor play or whether it's hanging out with friends. And many of them really do have concerns about what the future holds. And so I think because of that, we've got to be able to watch their affect for those where we can get to them. I remember when we did the presentation, one of the ministers talked about the fact that she's not seen any of her young people for months. They're just communicating by phone or virtually. And so that's number one, is to be able to try to get to a point where you can see, put your eyes on them or put your ear to them, to where you can see what's going on, and just asking them not necessarily, um, you know, what's wrong with you, but how are you? I know in the resilience model, we ask not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. But in these times, we may need to be asking the young people the simple questions of how are you? What's happening in your life? To get them to begin to share and to continue to be that trusted connection for them outside of their home. So I want to give Reverend Sang Hoon a little bit to say about this, but I think most importantly, we've got to understand where the young people are in the moment while taking the sometimes tricky balance of keeping them focused on a future that for them right now could be very uncertain.
Thank you, Dr. Scott. Yeah, I don't know how much can I add on that, but we talk about the resiliency as a connectivity, connectedness. So obviously, if there is more of a disconnection those areas we're talking about, spiritual, mental, and social, and physical, obviously that's the sign of the low resilience, right? So yeah, we can just kind of the ask, and a lot of times, yeah, we talk about what we don't ask what's wrong with you. We ask what happened to you. And even I agree with you, Dr. Scott, that how are you? But we work with the young people. I don't know. Most of the time I hear is that I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But with that saying that I don't know, you can hear still kind of tone of voice, right? You just I don't want to talk about it, and so I don't know. But really kind of getting serious, just I really don't know. I don't know where I am standing for right now, and I don't know, what is my life, and so I think we can just kind of be sensitive that the tone of voice, right, and how far they kind of withdraw themselves, and And those things is kind of say as a youth workers that we can feel yeah, a little bit different from yesterday, from last week, from last month, and then we can just to check it out that hey, when is the last time when you just talk with your parents or your sibling, right? So we can just kind of try to see that instead of just asking, are you okay? Do you have any trouble? You know, but we can just kind of some try to develop certain questions. We can see like a socio-ecological model that how much these young people is connected with their own life meaningfulness and also friends and yeah, family and sibling and schoolwork or if they work, you know, so how, you know, part-time full time, whatever, you know, just like a or community, you know, or hey, do you watch movie nowadays? What movie you watch, you know, and how often? And do you watch that by yourself or just you just kind of you know, like a lot of people, young people do it, right, like watching together, right? So it's kind of a Zoom movie marathon, you know, something. And those things kind of, you know, can think about how much they are engaged in their connectivity. If you see that kind of things coming down continually, then and we can see the sign, you know, there that we need to check on that. There are some people, you know, I'm totally fine with myself, and then maybe you see the kind of how they maintain this. But we cannot just objectify to everybody. People are different. Everybody different. So we need to think about individual differences. But comparing to the past month or, you know, past couple of months, we can see that which individual is really showing that the withdrawal or disconnection in her or his life. And I think that that's kind of where we can kind of and try to explore.
So in summary, there's probably at least four sort of key indicators that youth workers want to pay attention to. One is the degree of disconnection from normal. One is a greater level of withdrawal from even conversation. Another one is the tone in which the young person is communicating, if there's been a change or a deepening of the tone, a sadness of the tone. And then the fourth might just be the way they respond to others. If all of a sudden there's less of a tolerance, less of an engagement, less of an acceptance. So those might be four indicators for youth workers to look for.
That's really helpful. Yeah, thank you both.